Thanks for staying with us here on TVC Breakfast. It's now time for us to look at what the papers are reporting. The Nation newspaper says visa restriction. Federal government rejects United States claim on reciprocity. Platform Times. Visa row. Federal government blames U.S. visa cut on pressure to take Venezuelan deportees. Says we won't be a dumping ground. This Nigeria. Tinubu's 3 million golden votes made Buhari win. Ex-SGF Mustafa under fire for downplaying president's role in emergence of predecessor in 2015. Nigeria News Direct, 2027, we are all one. Shetima fires unity message to APC, PDP, ADC, others. Daily Independent, Tinubu Southern governors, Wike, others hail Supreme Court verdict, talking about Okpewolo's Guba victory. Nigerian Tribune, how Adoke, others stopped Jonathan from removing me as governor. That's according to Vice President Kashim Shettima. The Punch newspaper, autonomy standoff. Governors get 4.5 trillion naira local government funds 1 year after Supreme Court ruling. We'll talk about that. The Guardian newspaper, elderly care, emerging boom in home services, costly substitute for ailing hospitals. And the Sport and Life, Napoli reject Gala's third bid for Osimhen, pushing Nigerian to Al Hilal. Eagle Star won't report to Italian club next Tuesday. Well, I'll be doing this with my colleagues, Toma and Ria. You guys are welcome to the conversation. Let's start out with the Nation newspaper as well as the Platform Times, talking about the visa restriction. Yesterday, we're all ruminating, not fuming somewhat, but, worried as to why the U.S. will, in its mind, think that, yes, the next thing is just to impose or tighten the restrictions on Nigerians. So, but Nigerian government is saying, according to one of our diplomats, saying that the reason this happened was because they refused to take Venezuelan deportees into our own country. This started way back when Trump was in power in 2020 and said, no, Venezuelans, take them back to their country. We are not taking these deportees. What's your reaction to this, Etuma? Let me start with you.
Well, I read that headline. My first question was, what's wrong with Venezuela? I mean, they are Venezuelans. So why are you thinking of sending them to any other country? Why not Venezuela?
The economy is in shambles. So? They're in crisis. We get to a stage that their currency became, wallpapers. Everything just went down. They're all out to move out.
Is Nigeria floating in affluence? Nigeria has its problems, and the people you want to deport, 300 of them, some of them are prisoners.
Yeah. You
are not deporting the biggest, brightest Venezuelans to Nigerians. You are deporting prisoners and so on. Yeah. So I support the federal government stance, 150%, if I can say that. Why should you send Venezuelans to Nigerians and you are forcing us to take the Venezuelans? So the federal government says, no, we can't take Venezuelans, and you slam us with a 10% tariff hike, and now the visa, the single entry visa, 3-month single entry visa, and you are saying you are doing it in retaliation to what Nigeria has done. Come on, man.
Well, Nigeria has the right to align. He also dismissed, maybe not entirely so that, okay, because we align with the BRICS of this nation. Talk about Brazil, Russia, India, and some other countries, so South Africa inclusive. So saying that it is not exactly that. But why should Trump or United States of America, because some will say, we are leaving this country, we are leaving our countries to come into your country because you are coming into our own country to destroy it through pilfering, stealing our resources, causing war and violence. So if you would go out of our country, we'll also come, we'll leave your country as well.
And I say Nigeria is not a dumping ground.
Yeah.
That's what we need to understand, first of all. And when we're speaking about Nigeria, this is not just Nigeria, Ghana as well. Ghana also has the 3-month single entry.
Yeah.
And the reason why they gave Ghana is because they said a lot of students, Ghanaian students, go and they overstay. I think that Trump is just trying to practice America first and his own people first and protect America. Because if you look at it, I was reading some of the statements and it says they're not even reciprocating it. It's totally, some of the informations are misleading.
Yeah.
Single entry visa, we've spoken about how this is going to be difficult for people, a lot of Nigerians that go for healthcare and all of that. We speak about, making our place better. But at the end of the day, you have to travel in one way or the other. So I'm hoping that they will come to a mutual ground, because I know that in Ghana as well, Ablakwa Communication is talking to them to see how they come to a mutual ground. I don't think this is going to stand the test of time, because this 3-month entry is going to be a big problem when you talk about finances, talk about traveling. We can say that make Nigeria better, make our healthcare better so we don't need to travel out. But in one way or the other, you cannot stay in one place for the rest of your life for business reasons, for meetings, for conference. I just hope that, this is going to be resolved. And we cannot deny the fact that Trump is a bully, because when something comes, when something doesn't go right with him, the next thing he slams something.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right. And he wants to force his way. We always call him a dictator because of the way he does his things. He feels if it's not in my own way, then it's no other way except mine. So whatever it is, I just wish all the world can isolate the US, for what it is right now. Now, this Nigeria says Tinubu's 3 million golden votes made Buhari win. Ex-SGF Mustafa under fire for downplaying president's role in emergence of predecessor in 2015. He said 12.5 million or 12 point something million votes of President Muhammadu Buhari actually did the magic. Not exactly because it was supported by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and a few others, that brought in poultry, as I said yesterday, 3 point something million to the vote. I said, okay, I think you quizzed. Did he have the widespread?
They did have the spread. The Nigerian politics is big on number of votes and where you get the votes from. So if you have 100 million votes from one state, it is that state. What about the other over 30 whatever states and so on? So when, look, we must give it to Mr. President. The man is a very brilliant political strategist. He saw this thing, and at that time, AD was also much of a regional party. And he said, look, if we pull our strengths together, we'll have the spread that we need. And that was the basis of that coalition. So for anybody to downplay it is just not correct.
And then if you move on to the Nigerian News Direct, we're saying we're all one. Shettima fires unity message to APC, PDP, ADC, others. Says El-Rufai cannot be ignored amid power tussle. Recalls Jonathan's failed attempt to remove him as Borno governor. And then if you also go to Daily Independence, saying the same thing, saying Tinubu, Southern governors, Wike, others hail. Okay, that's for Okpebolo's victory. So, in all of this, I love the message the Vice President, is saying here, Vice President Kashim Shettima, saying that we are all one, regardless of the parties that we find ourselves. We might be gunning for the same position or similar positions, but we should treat this country as one indivisible entity, not seeing you as, yes, you are for the APC and for the PDP, and then we have to scatter everything. It
was a beautiful thing he said, and Jonathan said something. He said, power belongs to God. So when you have power, just do the right thing so that you can keep that legacy. I love the fact that he said, at the end of the day, we are one Nigeria. And I said it on this table, it's more about governance, not, politicizing everything. At the end of the day, ADC, PDP, Labour Party is one Nigeria. We're trying to make Nigeria better. And I feel like that should always be the aim. How can Nigeria be better? How can infrastructure be better? How can education be better? How can agriculture be better? Rather than focusing on, this is my enemy, that is my enemy. So that was really a thoughtful thing he said. And I hope that we can, pick from it and take it as we go into 2027 elections and not try to divide Nigeria, because at the end of the day, it's for the growth of Nigeria. Absolutely. And I really hold to what Jonathan says, power belongs to God at the end of the day. So when you have power, you cannot hold it forever. All you need to do is just build the legacy that people will always remember you for.
Well, to kind of counter what you said, if you look at the Nigerian Tribune, Shettima saying there, how Adoke others stopped Jonathan from removing me as governor. And I'll quickly read the excerpt, saying that former President Goodluck Jonathan, whom have now recalibrated our relationship, was mooting the idea of removing me as the governor of the state. Tambuwal had the courage to tell the president that, Your Excellency, you don't have the power to remove even a councillor of a local government. The president was still not convinced. He mooted the idea at the Federal Executive Council. I admire Mr. Mohammed Bello Adoke fundamentally for his courage and for his conviction and for his capacity to stand for what he believes in, so on and so forth. So that's to say that, yeah, Jonathan at one point, maybe now, believed that power belongs to God, but at the time he was at the top echelon, he felt, yes, I'm the Almighty.
But you cannot rule forever, so where is he now? He's not in power.
No. We have to look at the story. We have to look at the context as to which that thing happened. You know, at that time, Borno State was boiling. Borno State was really boiling. It's just like what happened in River State, and the state of emergency was declared. Maybe at that time, Jonathan felt that if he removes it, he will ease tensions in Borno State. But the instructive thing for me is that Shettima doesn't romance with the media as that much. Now he's finding his voice, and he is talking.
The thing is, I think he was actually making this statement at the launch of a book by Mohammed Adoke.
Yes.
Yeah, so that was where he was making that statement.
The story became apt. And for
it was the media that looked for him.
Yes, okay. For Mohammed Adoke's role he played in ensuring that Shettima was there, Mohammed Adoke was doing his job. You know, a lot of people do not have the courage to tell their principal the truth. But he did. You know, so it's good that we have people like that even at that time. And I pray that we're going to have, or we have more people like that that can look at Mr. President and tell him that this one is wrong.
That's right. That's right. And I think the similar thing goes with the incumbent presidents of Bola Ahmed Tinubu. I think some of the people around him, so oftentimes, he had said it, he had confirmed that sometimes they look right eyeball to eyeballs that, no, sir, you can't do this.
But that's how it's supposed to be. If you cannot tell your principal the truth, then you're not even doing a great job.
Yeah, that's true.
Now let's move on to the Punch newspaper. Autonomy standoff. Governors get 4.5 trillion naira local government funds 1 year after Supreme Court ruling. Local governments yet to open CBN accounts. Labour blames governors. AGF for delay. Falana, senior advocate of Nigeria, accused governors, federal government. So we're happy. Everyone was celebrating the removal of bottleneck from the state. I mean, from the local government. Now, sending the money directly, allocation directly to the local governments. That yes, we'll have governance at the grassroots because they will have access to money. But this is a year after, nothing is happening.
It's still the same building strong systems. You know, when the Supreme Court gives such a judgment, if the system was strong, it just would have gone on autopilot. You get what I'm saying? Yeah. But 1 year down the line, this is the time the actual cash is coming, and the local governments, without the cash, how do they open the central bank account and all the processes that go with it? And from the look of things, the fact that most governors do not like the idea of local government autonomy, those fingers that are being pointed at them could be true. You know, they will do anything possible to delay the process. And something as basic as opening an account where your monies will be paid into is something I believe local government chairmen will jump at. They will all go to Abuja, look, I'm opening this account, and bet bottlenecks. But 1 year down the line.
Yeah, to cut the governors some slacks, you know, the thing is, they've actually complied with the conduct of local government elections, even though that one too is contestable. And then the CBN is asking the local governors, local government to present 2-year something, maybe a statement of account or something. That can we prepare a statement of account when we did not have access?
We didn't have access to the money.
The problem I'm even saying is that the Supreme Court had given a ruling. Why is it not being followed? What is the reason why it's not being followed? And you know, the local level, they're really suffering because money is not being given to them. We've said a lot of times, why are the governors not being probed? The ones that do not want this, why are they not being probed? What is the reason why they don't want it? Is it for selfish reasons? These are questions that have to be asked because it's 1 year down the line and we're still talking about this. And these local government people, they have been speaking, you know, they have been saying that they are suffering. It's not easy. Money doesn't come to them. They cannot, you know, pay salaries. They cannot do infrastructure. They are practically handicapped.
The state government is doing all those salary payments and the rest.
I think according to reports, the governors, you know, met with the president. They expressed their, you know, their worries, concern regarding the Supreme Court ruling that, okay, there was now a moratorium. Hold on. Let's see how we can do they had a committee, the AGF, the SGF, go do this and let's see how you can implement this in certain
over 1 year.
So
it's
the federal government
such a long period of time. It seems there's somebody that is stopping it. It seems that people that do not want it.
Before the state governments took over local governments were autonomous.
That's right.
Go back to that system. Simple. So why would you put this committee together, that committee together, as if it's something new that's coming from...
And 1 year is such a long period of time for us to be going front and back on this particular issue.
Especially when we need good governance at the grassroots level. Let's move on to the Guardian newspaper. Elderly care, emerging boom in home services, costly substitute for ailing hospitals. So people are actually, opting for home care as against, having to be admitted, in the hospital. If I understand this very clearly. But how do you think we're doing when it comes to helping people that are ailing, especially the senior citizens?
That is one part of our lives in Nigeria that has been ignored for so long. It's traditional that your children will take care of you. And because of the hustle and bustle, and then the increasing demands on the time and every other thing about the kids, they just take the parents to the village and they're sending monthly stipends to them. Elderly care is a big industry in the United States. It's a big industry in Europe. You don't have that kind of system in Nigeria. In fact, Nigerians believe that you take your parents to old people's home, you're a bad child. So I mean, you have to... So what entails, and the only other alternative is to have trained medical personnel, caregivers, to come home, and that's if you can afford it.
But when I read the story, it just says that people no longer want to go to hospitals because of how we see the hospitals right now. You go to hospital, there are no beds, the hospital crowded, the nurses are not treating you well and all of that. But then people requesting for home care, how many people can pay doctors to come to their house to take care of them? That's the question we need to ask. Because home care is definitely more expensive. Bringing a doctor to take care of you at home is more expensive. But how many people can pay it? And when I read the story, it says that a lot of people now are scared to go to hospital. I think there's a lot that needs to be done in our healthcare system. I'll tell you what, I myself at home, I remember, I think that was last month, I went to the hospital. I told myself, I'll not mention the hospital name. I told myself I'll never go to that hospital again. If I'm sick, I'd rather go to the pharmacist or, try to do self-care.
What was the experience?
It was a horrible experience because I got there, I was having ulcer attack. I was explaining and she was like, I should fill a form. I'm like, treat me first. And these are some of the things. You take old people to hospitals, they're on wheelchairs, they're telling you, somebody is dying, they're telling you to fill a form to pay to do this. And sometimes it just gets annoying. And this is the reason why people are now opting for home care. Now the home care, how many people can pay for the home care? I feel like in this story, what we need to do is to make sure that our health care is good enough. Because as we speak right now, it's shaky, it's not that strong. People don't even want to go to hospitals anymore because of the way the nurses will treat you. Some of these nurses don't even have emotional intelligence. Some of them they're doing the job for the money. Some of them are overwhelmed because we've spoken about the brain drain. A lot of people are leaving. So the remaining people that are here, they are very overwhelmed. They don't even know how, when the stress gets into their head, they just treat people anyhow. So I think that for healthcare, there's a lot that needs to be done in our hospitals. So people have called out so many hospitals. We've seen it on social media.
Even general hospitals too.
Yeah, it's a long haul, and it's something that deliberate planning and implementation has to come in. So it's more something that government should sit on deliberately and then build the systems. Yes, we have a lot of private hospitals, but it's not only in Nigeria that we have private hospitals. We have private hospitals in every other place. What is our Medicaid plan in Nigeria? What kind of attention are we giving the whole medical sector?
And talking about these private hospitals, Ibrahim, they've now become so expensive. Imagine to see a doctor, you're paying 120,000 naira to see a doctor in a hospital.
Yeah, well, that doctor runs diesel.
But it happens at Thomas.
Yes, I know.
It depends on the hospital.
This is what they will tell you. Cost of running a hospital has gone up like 5 times. And when things like that happen, it is the customer that bears the brunt.
I was in the clinic just Tuesday, Wednesday, because of course someone of me was on admission, having a conversation with the doctor, and the doctor was complaining about electricity. Of course, they are on Band-Aid, and they said, okay, no, not even on Band-Aid. They said, okay, one thing we need to do is we need to replace the solar battery because the battery is bad. If there is no power, we need to be on solar. But imagine the cost of solar. But who will pay for, you know, the running costs and all of that? But at the end of the day, the kind of experience I had in, you know, the hospitals that, okay, one was very bad. Probably the one I'm using currently, you know, they have...
Is it private or government?
Private.
Okay.
So we have good relationship, you know, having conversation and all of that. But I think the government needs to do a whole lot.
Especially for the government hospitals.
Yeah, policy direction, not just, you know, formulating policies, but implementation is very, very key. Well, that's about it for the newspaper. I think I understand that that's about it for this time. Right, okay, we have Sport Newspaper. I think we took something like that already. Talk about the Sport and Life. Says, I'll be 100% for Djokovic. Semi-final, says Sinner. Oh, this name is quite interesting. Napoli rejects Gala's third bid for Osimhen. So pushing Nigerian to Al Hilal. Eagle Star won't report to Italian club next Tuesday. And then Caicedo to fans, see you on Sunday, Chelsea versus PSG. So
I just want to see on the headline one day that Osimhen has finally taken a team.
Taking it.
And that's what I want
and it's looking as if Al Hilal is where he'll go. But you see,
fingers crossed. Actually,
I'm not a big football fan, so it's just me talking based on the things I have heard. But the story that really interests me is the Club World Cup finals between Chelsea and PSG. One of my colleagues was telling me that, look, we will take the cup. He's a Chelsea fan.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, and I think Al Hilal, you know, people are getting endeared into it. Ronaldo, on the other hand, is saying that I want to stay here in Saudi Arabia. I do not want to leave.
But who wants to leave Saudi Arabia? He's making a lot of money there, actually.
I understand we need to go. All right, that's about it for the newspapers up for review this morning.